And part of my responsibility is to do no harm and to also accept no harm. And so I come here today speaking in deep concern of this petition for the health and well-being of my constituents and of people in the great state of Florida. This proposed rule is dangerous. And I appreciate the point made earlier how it should not be contentious. But to be clear, it never should even be a political issue. And unfortunately, due to actions by other elected officials who would get in between patients and their doctors, we have to come here today to protect this intimate and personal experience for already marginalized people. Now, I want to stress that there are unfortunately many people in this room who support this petition who just don't think trans people are real. They don't consider trans people to exist. And I don't know about y'all, but if we're talking about climate change, I want to go to climate denials to make policy on climate. So it's very important that we do not allow those who don't think trans people exist to be the decider on policy that impacts trans lives. I also want to stress that many people who support this petition think that this is a phase or a fad. I want to be clear that identifying as trans is not like bell-bottom jeans. It is someone's identity, and it must be respected and acknowledged. And these are folks who just want to be treated with dignity and respect like anyone else. And you talked about science earlier. I want to stress that the Department of Health is consistently misusing and misinterpreting data for a political agenda. In fact, recently, Vice News spoke to 10 researchers who said that the Florida Department of Health misstated their research. In fact, Vice News found that all 12 citations that Florida presents against the use of gender-affirming care has a clear anti-trans bias and is misinterpreted from what the researchers' conclusions were. Florida's health department is reverse engineering rationale for a policy completely counter to research-based medical best practices. But I will stress, what information do we know is true? We know that there are some serious mental health concerns for young people, but LGBTQ plus youth experience suicide ideation 4 times more than their peers. And without being accepted or receiving care, those statistics can get even more scary and dangerous. Young people who need gender-affirming care go through an informed consent process. Before I ran for office, I worked at Planned Parenthood in Southwest and Central Florida, where we rolled out HRT services just for adults at the time, and it was made very clear that when minors are accessing these types of services, they must have an informed consent and the involvement and the discussion between parents if there is a disagreement of how to move forward. I also want to be clear that what we know to be true is that Florida has a history of anti-LGBTQ plus policies, and so I understand the objective nature of this board, which we appreciate, but the reality is that we're not here in a vacuum. There's a national effort to brand people like me who care about these issues as groomers, which is offensive and incorrect, and now has become an LGBTQ plus slur. DOH and ACA are no longer unbiased. And so to wrap up my remarks, I want to be clear that this petition is designed to circumvent the Florida legislature. We as lawmakers did not pass a bill for you to do this. This is coming from the governor, who is clearly politically motivated, and we ask for you to reject this petition. Thank you.